What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's doing well. I'm pretty excited about today's video. We're going to be doing our first mock draft on the channel. I feel good about, what I think about all the prospects, and, we're starting to see who's going to bottom out in terms of, lottery odds and stuff like that. I ran through, a simulator on Tankathon one time, so this is going to be the order. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to start doing these more and more often as we get closer to the draft cycle. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more draft, Brooklyn Nets, or just NBA and basketball content in general. We continuing to post a variety of videos like I have the last few weeks. And yeah, be on the lookout for more mock drafts too. So let's jump right into it. So the Wizards, they're going to pick Cooper Flag. I don't really want to spend too much time on this. I think you don't really have to go far to see how special of a prospect Cooper Flag is. If he's not generational, he's the closest thing to it. The numbers he's put up since he's turned 19, since conference play has started, is just super, super special. The things I do want to kind of touch on real quick is the playmaking leap he's shown and the amount of responsibility he's taken on at Duke offensively, 30% usage rate. I think that shows, some really, really great upside as an offensive player. And, if any team has, primary creation or primary creator concerns, I think he has a really strong basis offensively. And I think he's only scratching the surface. So it'll be super fun to watch him grow over the years. The Wizards need a boost. They get that in Flag. Another guy, Dylan Harper. I don't want to harp too much. I think he's a really good fit for Toronto, and you know what Masai Ujiri likes. He's a big guard with good length. He loves his length there. Pause in Toronto. Harper got off to a super super good start. He's cooled down because he had the flu. Lost a visible amount of weight. Now he's dealing with a lot of ankle issues too. But respect to him for trying to play. But his ability to get downhill, his ability to get to the line, and just the pace he plays at, especially in the pick and roll. His manipulation there has been super fun to watch. Uh, he's just, I just love his pace. He may not be a crazy athlete, but his patience around the rim and finishing has been super fun too. The 3-point shot is definitely going to be something to continue to monitor. But if he can get that down, if teams are going to have to go over his screens or respect the pull up jumper, he's going to be a pretty big pain in the ass to guard. All right, now the Jazz here. Ace Bailey, he's been one of the most polarizing players in the draft class and one of the most polarizing prospects of the last few years. I'm probably going to make like a whole video on him, because on one hand, you look at a 30-second clip of, him hitting tough shots and he looks like he's like the next Kevin Durant. You see the T-Mac comparisons. But then you have, the analytics guys or, people delving a bit deeper and say like his inability to, really see the floor as a playmaker or his inability to get to the rim or, not or create open shots or high quality shots for himself instead of tough shots. Those are some red flags. But for me personally, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. The shot making stuff you can't teach. Coaches can't really teach that. Development guys that are in these organizations, you can't really teach that. Defensively too, I've liked the stuff he's shown. He's had a lot of games where he competes really well on the glass. He's got good length there, and he's got good footwork. He moves pretty well on that end too. I don't think I do think a lot of his flaws there are like mental. I think they're teachable. So he goes to Will Hardy. I think he's a good coach who can help get the best out of Ace. And then offensively, at worst, he's going to be a tough shot maker who can go on a heater any given night. I do want to see more 3-point attempts. He's been doing that as of late. Less, tough mid ranges. Especially in an analytics driven NBA, that's not really going to fly. I do like the fit in Utah where he can kind of just go and be himself for the first few years of his career. They can kind of give him all the reps he wants. Whether that will be a good thing, I do think whoever drafts him should get a point guard in there to kind of just stabilize things for him, and make his progression as a playmaker and in those flaws kind of, traditional and not like forced. But yeah, I'm rooting for Ace. I think he's a super fun prospect, and the league would be better if he hits. I don't think he's going to be like the next KD necessarily, but I do think, realistically, he's going to be a valuable player. Now the Hornets, they're going to get my guy VJ Edgecombe. I've really loved seeing him improve as well as, similar to a two-way guy like Ace. Um, he started off the year in a huge slump offensively from deep, but since conference play, he's been really, really productive, scoring 14 or more points um, in his last few or since conference play started. Defensively, he's just a monster. Stocks machine. He uses that athleticism athleticism really well. He's also got pretty good anticipation and feel on that end. Now, my concerns with VJ is, what is his ceiling as a creator? On the ball, his handles look pretty rough, but his feel in the pick and roll and as a passer has been super, super promising. So that connector, 3-and-D role, he's a great athlete. The intangibles are there. I really like this fit with Charlotte too. So, I think VJ is probably going to stay in the top five, maybe even higher um, in my draft board the rest of the way. Now at five with New Orleans, they can kind of go a bunch of ways here. But I'm going to give them Kasparas, Jakusiones. KJ has a lot of traits that you see and you think, he's going to be a star from his off the dribble 3-point shooting or his 3-point shot making has just been incredible. He's had a lot of electrifying 4-point threes or just a lot of great makes from deep this year. He's a master in the pick and roll. Turnover stuff is a bit concerning, but just the manipulation and feel he has as a passer, I think, will translate pretty well. Now, his limitations as an athlete, his limitations, as an on-ball creator without screens or athletically, I do think is going to limit him to a lesser extent. But I like this fit in New Orleans. Just KJ pick and rolls with a healthy Zion's like a basketball dream. Um, so I like this fit here, and I think his feel for the game pretty much is just going to be too much. I'd be shocked if he can't contribute at the next level. Now the Nets, they can go a bunch of ways here. I think they should swing for the fences here. So we're talking Jaeger Demon. Now I'm not really high on Jaeger Demon right now. He's just been not good against conference play. Trey Johnson, he's been going on heaters. Jeremiah Fears, really young, a lot of upside there. Me personally, I'm going to take a swing on Jeremiah Fears here. I really like this fit for him in Brooklyn because, he kind of has nothing to lose. He's going to be able to play high usage minutes right away like he's been doing in Oklahoma. Now, pick six could be pretty ambitious here. Hopefully the Nets are picking higher, but I think Fears' ceiling is really, really fun to think about. Just go watch like the game against Michigan. That's kind of why I'm sold on him. Um, and in terms of other guys, for like potential swings, like Trey Johnson's probably the only other guy I'd consider. But with Fears, I think from his shiftiness to, the way he's been able to get to the line, he's, he should be a senior in high school. 30% usage rate on a Big 12 team. Yeah, he makes some bad reads as, a passer, but he also makes really good ones. The 3-point shot is kind of iffy, but with his touch, his free throw percentage, his mid-range ability, I think, a three-level scorer who's a, a neutral as a playmaker. There's a really, really fun and electrifying player in Fears, and if he booms, he would be a really, really fun fit for Brooklyn. Now at seven here, I'm gonna have the Blazers going with. They could go a bunch of ways here, man. They don't really have like a clear guy. Um, who could the Blazers draft, man? You know, should we go best player available, man? Like, man. Yeah, we're gonna give them Trey Johnson here. The thing with the Blazers is they have those guards, but it's also like they have Klingon, Avdia, Tamari Kamara. That front court for the future is super, super fun. I'm personally higher on them than I am like Anthony Simons, who probably should get traded at this point. Scoot hasn't been that great. Sharp kind of comes and goes with his flashes. So think of Trey Johnson as like a taller Anthony Simons replacement for the Blazers. Um, there's a world where he's their best guard 5 years from now. The playmaking, the pressure, on the ball and as a finisher and as a defender are going to be the concerns for him. But I think, overall, I think he's a good swing. The shot making and the star level scoring ability is just too special. And the willingness in those weaknesses that I've talked about, um, I think it's a good swing for the Portland. All right, now the Thunder. We're going to be running Giddy 2.0 here. Jaeger Demon, like I said, he's been absolutely shit against top 200 teams at the college level. He's been shooting the ball terribly. His handle has really limited him. Um, Really, the selling point here is that he can pass, and he should be a better shooter, or he could project to be a better shooter. In that case, you get a guy who can shoot the ball, pass, and has good positional size defensively. That's kind of what the Thunder have been prioritizing. Picking a guy like Josh Giddey or Cason Wallace kind of fits that mold too. So they're going to go Demon here. They're playing with house money. Go for the swing and see if you can kind of rejuvenate him, uh, like you tried to do with Giddey. Now at 9 here, I'm going to have the Bulls taking Kaman Malawach. I think Malawach is the best center in this class. Now there are some red flags with Malawach in terms of like his feel for the game. He doesn't play a lot of minutes for Duke. He is pretty raw, in terms of feel for the game, but he is just a specimen of an athletic prospect. He dunks like literally everything. He finishes everything. He puts back everything around the rim. That's kind of he catches lobs. He's got a crazy catch radius. That's kind of all his game is right now offensively, but uh, defensively too, he just blocks everything. He does have room to grow on both ends, but I think he's got the highest upside of any center, maybe besides Derek Queen, but I don't think Derek Queen hits that stuff. All right, now the Spurs. The Spurs, the clock is up. They're gonna have to start drafting, a lot of good players here for Wemby. So I'm just gonna give them Miles Beard here. Um, Certified, guaranteed good NBA player. Ranking 40, I can promise you he's not going to be picked top 40. He has been a super big riser, just your prototype 3-and-D guy, shooting really well from deep, great length, 2-point, finishing around the rim, attacking closeouts, could improve, but I think he's just scratching the surface. And just the fact that he can shoot and defend from day one next to Wemby, they don't really have a lot of guys right now who can do that. So for that, I think it's a really good fit. And then they're picking right here once again. We can go for upside here. Noah Senge, Nolan Traore. Hasn't. He's really fallen off as a prospect, but they can try the Tony Parker 2.0 shit again. I think I'm going to give them Noah Senge here. This is a guy, he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none right now. He's got a really, really weirdly good free throw rate. He's really fun or toolsy as a defender. He's got great length. He moves really well. I don't think he's 6'8". I think he's taller than that. He looks taller than that because of his length. Um, he's super raw offensively, but put him next to Wemby. He can catch lobs. He can, finish from backdoor. The 3-point shot, is growing. I actually really like this fit for San Antonio next to Wemby. His ceiling as a defender next to Wemby could be just crazy fun. Now Golden State here, they're gonna get another guy similar to Miles Beard, just prototype 3-and-D guy. I really like Rasheer Fleming. He's bigger than Beard. I think Miles Bride could maybe maybe the Spurs should have drafted Fleming here. Maybe I messed up for the Spurs because Fleming is bigger. He moves really well defensively. He's made a great leap as a shooter. He can attack closeout. He has some monstrous dunks. He is, the jump he's made, I really, really like it. Especially because he like stayed loyal to St. Joe's. He didn't transfer up. He just chose to stay. And now there's a chance he's a lottery pick in this year's draft. Um, Great size, great great shot or a great developing shot or um, and just ability to attack closeout. The motor's really there. And I think it really says something that he's gotten better year by year at the college level. So this is a great fun piece for the Golden State going forward, as well as to get the best out of the last few years with Steph. Now the Hawks can go a bunch of ways as well. I'm gonna give them like we could go Concacaf. They got Bogdan though. Like um, Ian Jackson's kind of fun. Arthur Thiaro, Jason Richardson, Janai Broom. Um, who could they go with here, man? You know, they're kind of like packed, man. I'm gonna give them Asa Newell. I think he's one of the better remaining guys left. He's been super productive as a freshman. Clint Capella is going to be off the book soon. Now, whether he's a 4 or 5 remains to be seen. He's going to have to shoot the ball to be a 4, but he's going to have to rebound better as a 5. Uh, but yeah, his productivity, he's been putting up like 15 and 7 like every game now. It's just where can he take it from there? And is he going to be too small or, is his frame going to fit as a center? Now, the Mavericks, they're probably looking for guys who could win now. But I like the idea of giving them a guy like Ian Jackson going forward. Jaden Hardy hasn't really panned out, but they could shoot for another guy who's just a really talented scorer. Um, the rest of his game needs a lot of work now, um, but I like this fit a lot. Let him develop there. Um, and his productivity as a scorer as a freshman is starting to get too good where you can kind of let the rest of his game be accepted for what it is. Now the Thunder, we're gonna be taking Liam McNeely, another guy I think they can just plug and play. Great size, good shooter, shown some stuff on the ball, competes defensively. Yeah, not really much else to be said. Kind of a boring prospect to be honest with you. Now the Magic here, um, the Magic. Hmm, I like the Magic taking. We can give the Magic. They need a guard, man. I like the Magic taking Jason Richardson here. Jason's in a super low usage role. I talked about him in another video, but that low usage role could lead to some upside or some untapped potential. I think he fits the Magic. Maybe he can give them more scoring from the guard position. Um, Another good fit with, could be like a Boogie Flan, a Jeremiah Fears if he falls, maybe. Ian Jackson, they just need more scoring for as a guard. But I think Jace, he is small, so that's kind of a concern. But I like this fit here just because he could come in day one, shoot the ball well, play off other guys really well. He's doing that right now for Michigan State, so I do like this fit a lot. Now the Timberwolves. Um, we could give the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves, this is a good spot for a guy like, we're going to give the Timberwolves Alex Karaban, man. Another guy who's kind of a boring prospect out of UConn. Um, just a good, nice wing. I think they're going to need more shooting. Yeah, he's pretty good at that. I also like Cam Jones. He could kind of fill in as a Mike Conley role for them. Maybe that's what I should have done instead. But Karaban, win now guy for a team that's going to have to nail the margins, after the blunder of the cat trade. And, they're going to have to fix things or else, the Ant situation could get pretty ugly. Now, the Rockets, they got a lot of prospects here. So they could go a bunch of ways here. I'm going to give them a guy in Carter Bryant. Now, Bryant could easily stay and, be a lottery pick next year, but he could also, you know, declare, sit for a year, redshirt a year basically, and come back. Every time he's on the floor, he makes winning plays for Arizona. So maybe once the Rockets, you know, go all in on a star, he can rise up and play there. I like the fit here. Drake Powell's another good shout, but Brian has just been super, super good in the few minutes he's played. Now the Jazz are on the clock. Again, they picked Ace Bailey with the third pick. Um, maybe now they can go with a guy, you know, another guy. They have a bunch of guards though, so I don't know if Phylon's a cool fit. Um, we could give them Thomas Sorber. Uh, he just had a monstrous game against Providence. Um, he's shown flashes of shooting the three ball. He's been really good in the drop as a defender, moves his feet pretty well. He's got some good block numbers. Um, Now, is he too small? What's the touch going to look like? He's not that great of a vertical finisher. Those are the questions, but if the Jazz are going to move off Walker Kessler, this could very easily be a starting center for years to come. He's just been super productive as a freshman. Now at 20 with the Pacers, um, you know, they're another team, they kind of need a backup center. Um, so I think it's Derek Queen's falling too much where, they could take a swing. They took Jarius Walker again, another kind of skilled, bigger guy. They're different players. But Derek Queen, he's got a lot of upside, man. Um, I don't know where he could fit if he doesn't hit like a crazy offensive outcome. There's a lot of questions on who's he going to guard, if he's too small to be a center, and if he is a center, will he be able to shoot it? He hasn't really shown many flashes as a shooter, although he shot a few, made a few. Um, but here the Pacers are going to get a backup big that they've kind of been looking for all season. Miles Turner is also he's a free agent, and apparently the Pacers might not pay him. I saw a report saying. But yeah, here Queen, Pacers, small market team, they're gonna have to draft really well. Take a swing here on Queen. If he hits his production that he's been showing or the flashes he's been showing in college, he could be a really, really special player. Now the Thunder are up once again. I'm going to give them another guy that I think could be a really just fun win now player. That's Colin Murray Boyles. He's a super, super versatile and just fun defender, man. Um, yeah, he's super fun on that. And as a playmaker, offensively, he's been good. As a scorer, he's a traditional back to the basket kind of guy. He's pretty athletic. The shots, he's going to be a small ball five. I think of him as like a Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman. I think he can come in right away, give the Thunder good defense, make a few nice passes in their offense, and just finish around the rim. All right, now the Nets are up. We took Jeremiah Fears with the sixth pick. Um, Now where do we go from here? Um, there are some guys still left here. Um, we're gonna go with. Should we stock up on guards here, man? Yeah, we're gonna stock up on guards here, man. We're gonna be picking like right after this. We're gonna take LeBaron Philon. I'm a big fan of Philon. His feel as a freshman is really, really good. He's shown some great reps as a passer. He can get to the rim really well. Now, my concerns with him are his frame, his three-point shot. But again, he's going to go to Brooklyn next to Jeremiah Fears. They're going to see, what they have in these young guards. Maybe if Cam Thomas walks, the Nets kind of. I don't think Cam Thomas is in their future. Um, with how they've treated him over the last few years. And even if he does resign, I think it's going to be on a short-term deal. So here they are. We're going to draft two, some guards who, have a lot of upside as scorers and, lead playmakers. And now the Hawks are up once again. We took Asa Newell for them. This time, we're going to go with Nick Clifford, another guy who can just plug and play, good depth piece. Like this fit a lot. Um, Older prospect, those come and go. But, he rebounds well, he defends well. He's been super, super important for Colorado State the past few years. Um, Now I guess, him, Dyson Daniels, they could be fun defensively. I like that pick a lot. The Magic, they took Jason Richardson. I'm going to give them Con Knipple here. Really good shooter. A lot of concerns as a defender. Um, but ultimately, um, his shooting, his playmaking, the Magic love their playmakers, especially with good size. I like this fit a lot. Now the Nets are up once again. They've taken a lot of guards, but they really should just be pounding best player available. Best player available. Now we're gonna go with you can go a bunch of ways here, man. Um, we're gonna go with let's go. We're gonna go do Thiaro here. Now the Nets kind of shot for upside with their first two picks. With Thiero, you kind of know what you're getting here. He's shown some flashes of improving his 3-point shot, and although that's not crazy, it's not a crazy leap. His athleticism, his scoring leap this year at Arkansas, uh, his relentlessness, getting downhill, getting to the rim, finishing around the rim, and his defense. If the shot comes, he's going to be a super, super valuable role player. Now, the Grizzlies, they always draft well, man. I'm going to give them Ben Seraph here. He's a pretty interesting prospect. He's got a lot of traits to him. He's not. He's probably out of all these guys, he's probably one of the prospects I don't really have a great grasp on because he's an international guy. But he can put the ball on the floor. He's pretty crafty as a creator when the ball is in his hands. He's made some few passes. Another guy can pass, dribble, shoot. Those traits are always nice to have. Goes to a team with Memphis that usually drafts well. He's got a bunch of skills where he can contribute right away for them. Now the Nets with their final pick here, um, you know, we could go Danny Wolf. We could go Johni Broome. Janai Broome. I like Danny Wolf a lot and the stuff he's shown. I think Jordy Fernandez getting his hands on a guy who, as a big, can play make. I think that's going to be super important for Jordy's system going forward. Uh, Defensively, I think he's better than you'd think. It's really just about can he be a good shooter and can he stick defensively. Um, but with Wolf, his playmaking is super fun. He's got a lot of skill, man, and skilled bigs. They kind of have their ends of the spectrum here. Um, but I like the swing for Brooklyn in the late first round. Now Boston, they're gonna probably shoot for a wing now guy. Um, hmm. We're gonna give them Janai Broome. Oh my God, if Janai Broome goes to the Celtics, man. Al Horford getting older. Porzingis, you don't know. Draft the National Player of the Year, a guy who's going to be able to contribute day one. Just a super, super productive college player. We've seen it with Zach Edey. He got drafted really high. He's been a good defender, shown flashes of a 3-point shooter. He's able to put the ball on the floor, he's improved as a playmaker. Just a guy who's a damn good basketball player. He's going to go to Boston, who is probably going to need a center for the next few regular seasons. Now the Suns, we're gonna give them Nolan Traore, Jimmy Butler trade, no Jimmy Butler trade. They're gonna need a point guard. Tyus Jones has not done the trick. And here with Traore, they're just gonna take a swing. Top 5 prospect who has not really been productive. He's had a few good games, but his ability to not go left, his lack of a jumper, he really is just an advantage passer at this point. But maybe the Suns, they're going to shoot for it and go for a swing. And then lastly, the Clippers, we're looking at these guys. I think, the guy most deserving of a first round pick is Cam Jones. He should honestly go a lot higher than this. Um, but yeah, another guy who's just a super, super good college player. Really made a big leap as a, playmaker. um, this year. Good scorer, can play on the ball, can play off the ball, can play a lot of roles. And for a team that, load manages guys, he's going to be ready to play any role whenever they need him to. So that's going to do it. This is our 30 team mock. Um, Instant thoughts or regrets as making all 30 picks. As a Nets fan, I'd be fine with Jeremiah Fears, but I do think Trey Johnson would be, just as good, if not better, if not safer of a pick, because if Fears doesn't pan out, what's his role? I'm not sure. At least with Trey Johnson, you're gonna get a guy who's 6'6", great shooter. Now that I think of it, man, I really should have went Trey Johnson, but I'm sticking to Fears. I've really enjoyed watching him, and the flashes he's shown has been really good. But that is Trey Johnson is another guy the Nets would probably pick in that situation. Um, and we look. I like the Beard or Miles Bird and Noah Senge back to back for the Spurs. Good mix of upside and production there. Um, Thomas Sorber and Ace Bailey for the Jazz. That's a cool fit. I think Sorber's got a pretty comfortable floor. He's a surefire bet. Ace could really change the trajectory of that franchise. Boston going Jonai Broom. I like these three picks for these three contenders. Could be good on the margins. Alex Carabin, maybe that could have been a reach. Um, this draft is interesting, man. There's a lot of guys who can fluctuate in terms of where they end up. Again, with the Nets, LeBaron Philon, another guy, just a nice swing. Uh, pass, dribble, shoot. I think that's a big emphasis with Jordy. He can run the pick and roll a lot. Nate Oates and Jordy are kind of pretty similar to me. And then do Theo and Danny Wolf, some upperclassmen who have shown some really good production. I don't really regret any of these picks for the Nets, but I probably would draft Trey Johnson if I had to do it different. This was my first mock, so like I kind of didn't really have a great feel or like game plan going forward. So that's why I'm probably gonna do another one pretty soon. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Uh, Continue to post, draft videos and stuff like that, just basketball content in general. So subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you guys are doing well, and peace.